long before the mighty empires of Babylon or Rome, before the kings of Israel sat on thrones of cedar and gold, there was a time when the sons of the earth wandered wide and wild, staking out their lives in the valleys, deserts, and mountain caves. In that forgotten age, in the rugged terrain of Seir, lived a man named Akan. Akan was the son of Ezer, a chief among the Horites. The Horites were not Israelites but an ancient people who dwelled in the hill country of Seir, descendants of Seir the Horite. They were mountain people, hard-skinned and sharp-eyed, living in the crevices of the rocks, herding their flocks across dry plateaus, and carving out homes in the sides of red stone cliffs. They feared gods they called upon through fire and shadow, and their bloodlines were recorded not with scrolls, but with stories passed down through generations beside campfires under the desert stars. Ezer, Akan's father, was a chief of his clan, a man known for his cunning and strength. Ezer ruled not by brute force alone, but with a mind sharpened by years of navigating the unforgiving terrain and the equally unforgiving politics of tribal leadership. Akan grew beneath this stern gaze, learning the ways of the Horite from an early age. From his youth, Akan showed signs of restlessness. Where his brothers were content to tend the herds or patrol the mountain paths, Akan looked farther, beyond the horizon, toward the lands of the Edomites, and even the Israelites, whose stories were beginning to echo into the region. There were tales of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, men who had encountered the Most High God, El Elyon. Such talk was strange and unsettling to many Horites, but it intrigued Akan. He was not a warrior by nature, though he could wield a blade if needed. He was a wanderer, a listener, a collector of tales. He traveled often, visiting distant encampments and learning languages not native to Seir. Among the merchants and nomads, he picked up strange words. Words like covenant, blessing, and birthright. He heard of a man named Jacob who had wrestled with God, and of sons who would become tribes greater than the stars. These stories stirred something in Akan, an unease, perhaps, or a yearning. Though he was the son of a chief, he wondered what it would mean to be more than just a footnote in someone else's kingdom. He dreamed of a legacy not just written in the red rocks of Seir, but one that could be remembered through the ages. As Akan grew into manhood, he began to chart his own path. He married a woman from a neighboring Horite clan, strong-willed, sharp of tongue, and wise in the ways of their people. Together they had children, and Akan taught them not only the stories of Seir but the tales he had gathered from the world beyond. He taught them to listen, to wind, to travelers, to the silence between the stars. In time, Akan became known not only as a son of Ezer but as a chief in his own right. His tent was filled with artifacts and treasures from distant lands. He was a man who bridged worlds, the old traditions of the Horites and the new movements that stirred among the descendants of Abraham. Yet Akan's name only appears once in the scriptures. Just one mention in the long genealogy of the sons of Seir in Genesis 36. A name, a lineage, a moment. Some might see that as insignificant, but to those who understand the weight of genealogy in ancient times, that one mention is a monument. It means Akan's name endured. It was remembered. In a world where names were forgotten with each passing sandstorm, Akan's name was carved into the lineage of a people. And perhaps that is what Akan would have wanted, not fame, not a crown, but remembrance. A recognition that he lived, he sought, he wondered. He taught his children to be curious in a world that demanded conformity. He carved stories into stone, not with a chisel, but with the choices of a life lived on the border between tradition and change. Akan, son of Ezer, son of Seir. A man of the mountains. A man of questions. A name in scripture that whispers of a life much larger than a single verse.